Okay, welcome back to week two of the third season of Grand Arena Championships. And similar to last week, this is going to be a weekly compilation video. For those who missed the announcement that I made last week, I will be shifting to a weekly compilation format instead of a live commentary format just for a couple of months, just due to some real life time constraints. But let's go ahead and take a look at the matchups. So this is what my group looks like for this week. So even though I'm among the lowest GP, 4.8 among the group of 8, but I do have better mods and zetas than the rest of my group. So that does balance it out. In terms of General Skywalker, there's one person in my group, KT8, who doesn't have him, but the rest of them do have him. There's one person, T Mike, who actually has General Skywalker at R7, similar to mine. Pretty decked out one. I'm not facing that person right now. Maybe in future matches you'll see the matchup happening. But as you can see over here from the ranking, both me and my opponent have reached Kyber in past seasons. The rest of my opponents have qualified for Erodium. So if I meet Mike, it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. But for now, for the first match, I'm matched up with Show Gamo, who's also at 4.8 million GP, G11 Skywalker, but only a 5-star Malik. So relatively weaker roster than mine on almost all categories. So I was not too worried about this, and especially if you look at the defensive holds for my current opponent Shah Gamo, it's only 12, which means that they typically set a lighter defense, which is pretty easily taken out. So that's my current opponent. I'm assuming that he's going to go probably offense heavy. Let's go ahead and dive into the matches. So one thing about my current opponent, Sho Gamo, even though my roster was better than theirs, their Galactic Republic team was simply outstanding, the best I'd ever seen. R7 on all the characters, 319 speed on Padme, 296 speed on Anakin with the crit damage set, over 100k health on C3PO, and really well mounted. All round Galactic Republic was pretty good, and Separatist team also I think was pretty well modded as well. So I was pretty impressed with their newer faction modding. Their but it overall it did drop off the quality of their roster, so I wasn't too worried about it. So as you can see over here, they did have 7 battles against my General Skywalker, who I'd kept in the front with Newt. Newt team was one shot, but they weren't able to clear my General Skywalker team. I'd kept Sisters and the Grievous Nuke squad at the back just as a surprise, but they never reached this place, so really nothing to see over there. And at the top, I'd kept my EP squad, and then Django with Nest, as well as the Kira squad, and a couple of them got 2 holes each. So overall, I think they wasted a lot of battles on my General Skywalker. And out here in the front, I just had my Thrawn with Geos. Let's take a look at my opponent's defenses. So they've set Evox over here, Sisters with Nest, and then Jedi Knight Revan team with General Skywalker. And down here we've got Imperial. We've got Bounty Hunters and a Shakti Trooper team. So the speed on Boss was about 258. So my Stark, even though it's a G11, my Trooper team will be able to outspeed that. So I just decided to take that against it. And it's a pretty straightforward battle. Even though it is a G11 Trooper team, it's more than enough to take out Bounty Hunter teams, which it outspeeds. I think if the Bounty Hunter team is Relic, then G11 Troopers have some amount of problem, but at least with G12 Bounty Hunter teams, which is the majority of the teams that you see these days, Troopers do just fine even at G10, G11, provided you've modded them decently well. So Troopers are a part of my project, but then there's so many things to mod and gear right now that they keep slipping in priority for me. And especially with some of the new factions and the new characters coming out for light side TB. I think my troopers will probably stay G11 for a while, and they seem to do the job for now. So I think I'm okay leaving them over here for now. So right now I think one of my troopers is below full health. Yes, I think it was Weir. So I got 59. Moving on to the next battle. So in this next battle we have Shakti with clones, and even though the clones are not relict, and they've got Cody in there at G10 or G11, and not really that well modded as well. So I decided to just go in undersize with my Geos. I thought the clones wouldn't be much of a problem, especially without Barris in there. The Geos do just a fine job in taking out Shakti clones. My priority always is to take out Shakti first and then go after fives. But as you can see over here, even though the clones are undergeared, they are doing a lot of damage. I mean, Echo, Cody, they've got tons of AoE, which are not good for the Geos at all. And fives is pretty tanky and tenacious, and I'm not able to, even with tenacity down, I'm not able to get through fives completely. And you can see over here, one of them was able to take out one of my characters. I think I went in without Sunfac, but they took out Geo Soldier, I think. So I'm trying to get through the rest of the clones with what I have left. So I managed to pop Rex over there, and so Five sacrificed himself. The good thing was I don't think this Fives was Zeta'd. So when Fives is not Zeta'd, then you target one of the weaker clones and get rid of them, and rather than having to work through a tanky fives. So did manage to lose some banners. 55 managed to that should have been closer to 57 if I'd ended up with full health, full protection on everyone with 4 characters. But that's fine. We are able to clear this and see what's at the back. We're not really pressured for banners right now. All we are looking for is a full clear. And over here we see a Geo squad and a Kart squad. So I decided to go up and take out some of the tougher teams before handling these teams at the back. So I see over here that the toughest team is the Jedi Knight Revan team. So I decided to take my Darth Revan against it, and just be done with that battle. So in this battle, I haven't had this battle in a while, Darth Revan versus Jedi Knight Revan, but with Deathmark, the battle really is not much of an issue. They do have General Skywalker in this team, who does reduce maximum health, and he does have the Zeta, which reduces Malik's maximum health. So that's the only thing to be wary about. But I'm trying to just take out Skywalker as soon as possible. So unfortunately, Skywalker was able to take out my HK, who's one of the main anti-Jedi characters in the team. But I am able to pop the first savior and get fear on everyone. I was able to get rid of General Skywalker, and now I'm trying to work on some of the other damage dealers. So if you notice over here, there's no Grandmaster Yoda, so there's no real damage dealers, but the team still does a decent amount of damage, I think primarily due to Basti's buffs and General Skywalker. But this team was relatively easier to take out, nothing much out here. And I was able to end with 54 banners. So next I decided to go in and try to take out the Night Sister team, and for this I believe I used my Basti Wampa. I think that's the team I decided to go with. And I had plenty of teams left, so I just decided to throw in Watt over there as well, along with a couple of other healers, Jolie and Hermit Yoda, and just go with that. So here, as you can see, I've given the weapons tech mod to Wampa, so that any deaths that he does and the revives will be prevented. And then just proceed to take out the characters one by one. Nest was taken out first, not much problem for Wampa. I put a little heal on Watt over there to recover some banners, and then place the healing tech on, I think it was on Basti, and it's really not much of a problem. It was a pretty quick match, and I'm able to take care of this and end with, I think, 59 banners, 58. So let's go over to the next match, which I believe is versus the Geos. I think I want to leave the Ewoks for the last. I want to take out the next toughest team, which is going to be the Geos, and I go in undersized with my Treya team. I think at this point I have more than enough offense left, so I'm throwing in Thrawn over there as well, even though he's not needed. And it's a G12 Geo squad, so not very threatening. So I'm going to speed up the battle over here a little bit, but this battle takes place just like any other Treya Geo battles takes place, which is basically you just wait for them to kill themselves with all the assists, and then try to top up as much health and protection as possible. Take out Spy if he's open. Take out Brood Alpha, and it's a pretty straightforward battle. Okay, and in this one, I believe I end with about 60 banners. Yep, lost protection on one of them. All right, let's take a look at what else we have to take out. And then there's this cards team, which is a vanilla cards team. Nothing much out there. So I decide to go in with my Padme team, undersized. I'm just trying to knock off as many undersized battles as I can. If you're guaranteed a victory, then it's better to get all your undersized feats done at this point of time. So I'm going to speed up this battle as well. Nothing too interesting here. It's it's a very standard Old Republic team, and this is really a very one-sided battle. So I just target to take out as many people as I can as soon as I can. And yeah, this team is really no match for Galactic Republic. Okay, now I'm just trying to let's see who else we have to face in the end. So 61 banners there, everyone ended up with full health and full protection, which is a little rare on Galactic Republic teams, but as long as you're faster and you're able to get protection up fast, it's pretty okay. So now the only team left is Ewoks, and I decide to knock off another one of my feats over here, which is basically the feat which requires you to take in Phasma as well as Fox into a single battle. And I've taken my Commander Luke Skywalker team, and I could have undersized it with just those three because Ewoks are really squishy over here. But just taken those two just so that I'm able to get this feat done. Don't know when I'll have time to do this again. So as you know, Ewoks are not my favorite team to face on defense. Just because these guys, they've caused me so many freezes, not just when I use them on offense, but even when I'm facing them on defense, these guys, for some reason, they just freeze my phone. So whenever I get the chance, I like to kill them with fire. And nothing more satisfying than Han and Chewie smashing their face in. So 58 banners over there. I could have got 62, 61 probably, but I managed to get a few extra banners for the feats. Okay. Now onto the ships, and I see at the back my opponent has kept Thrawn, and he did have General Skywalker, so I was very surprised not to see General Skywalker there. So anyway, pretty easy enough battle for my Rebel fleet. I go in undersized again to get another one of those feats completed. I'm just speeding up this battle as well. Nothing interesting to see out here. I try to take out his Houndstooth as soon as I can, and then focus on Vader as well. And yeah, the ships are pretty weak. Empire ships are not as tanky as, say, Galactic Republic, and they have no protection recovery mechanic like Rebels have. So this wasn't really much of an issue, this battle. And Rebel ships are great for protection recovery on offense, just because over here, for example, I got 65 banners, which was pretty great. So at the end, 1923, which was, I think, one of my better performances, but it was really a weak defense, so nothing much to talk about. On to the next one. So this is what the group looked like after the first battle. So there's Marcelo, T Mike, Ekel Maraska, and me in who have got one win each. And So you can see over here my current opponent, Ekel Maraska, also got General Skywalker, Triple Zeta, G11 at 5 stars. GP is pretty high, 5.5, which is about 700k more than mine, but the rest of the stats I think are pretty even. In fact, I way out mod my opponent despite the GP difference. My mods are significantly better, so I was not too worried about this matchup as well. If you look at the record, they do have quite a lot of offensive wins and undersized victories, but defensive record is slightly is quite low. So which makes me think that this matchup again also has got. I'll be facing a relatively weaker defense and not as strong as some of my other opponents. So let's go ahead and take a look at the match. So this is the defense that I've set. I've kept my sisters up top, kept EP with Basti, which always does well, and then Bounty Hunters with Nest. My place for Nest seems to be with Bounty Hunters these days, especially since I've got her relicked up. Down below I've got Grievous with Watt. I've kept my Skywalker team as well. What I typically like to use for offense, but in this case I just decided to keep him with Grievous. And at the back I've kept a new team with Separatist and Ray with some droids. It's a really fast team. And I've kept a weak team for ships. Let's take a look at my opponent's defenses. They've kept a straightforward Bounty Hunter team, Boss Lead, Cards team. Those two are not threatening at all. And then a relatively relicked up Grievous squad. And then over here down below they've got Sisters and a Watt Scoundrel team with Newt and Nest in there. So I decide to go for that first, and I take my Geos with the. I decide to go with the Sisters first, and I take my Geos over there with Barris. So Geos typically tend to do well against Asajj lead Night Sisters. Against Talzin lead, I wouldn't take them, but even with Asajj lead, Talzin does tend to spread plague around and there tends to be a lot of stun in this team. So I kept Barris in there just so that anytime that the Geos get crit, they heal, and they can then dispel plague. And at the same time, Barris is a source for another cleanse as well, because she gains turn meter every time that the opponents that your allies get debuffed, and so she's gaining turn meter all the time. She's got an additional heal, she's got an additional cleanse. It's just keeps the Geos a little more robust, and a little more survivable. So that makes this counter work a little better. So I think I've got one. That's the second zombie revive, and now I'm just working on getting rid of the rest of the sisters. Need to get rid of Daka first, otherwise she's going to revive, and she does manage to revive once. But I take care of sister of spirit again, and then I decide to go directly for Daka, since she's the dangerous one. Big hit from Spy takes care of Daka. A lot of stuns, but I think Barris is doing her job well enough. It doesn't look like I'll be able to recover full health and full protection, especially because I managed to get that ability off, but still not full protection on everyone. So I think I end up with only 54. I think Barris was slightly below full health. So 54 banners. It was an interesting experiment. I don't know if I'll do it again. Barris is much better suited in other teams. Now for the new team, I decided to take in Treya with Thrawn. Now Newt is always a tough squad, and I especially with Watt in there, can get pretty tricky, which is why I thought my Treya might do a decent job. I decided to give isolate to nest so that she doesn't counter, and then proceed with taking these other guys out. Now this Watt team is extremely this new team is extremely resilient and does tons of damage. Um, I can never figure out what is the right amount of offense to take against it. I don't feel like taking anything too heavy, just because I feel that there are better teams which deserve that. But at the same time, this team does so much, especially if Watt is also there to give those buffs to Dooku and and Newt. He makes them so survivable and makes them hit so hard that it actually, I think this team deserves a more harder response. I think CLS is completely justified to take against it, especially if you want banner recovery as well. So here you can see Treya is a really tough team, but even these guys are struggling to take this team out. They've already got one stack of profit, and I think here I made a mistake. I'm trying to get rid of Dooku, but Dooku has the med pack um option over there, which is why he's recovering tons of health and protection. Especially being a separatist, he's recovering bonus protection as well. So here you can see all the damage that I've been trying to do on Dooku and Newt. They've healed back completely to full. So I should have probably given up at this point and either fractured them or annihilated one of them, because these guys are getting too problematic. Maybe instead of Nest, I should have probably annihilated either Dooku or Django, because Nest, once she's isolated, she's really not much of a threat at all, and she's not a separatist, so she's not going to get any of the benefits from profit. But you can see over here, Dooku is even though all that countering is taking his health down, he's still recovering all of that pretty fast and almost taken out my Thrawn at this stage. So Django dies once. I'm just trying to get rid of him again, but not before I think they take out my Thrawn right now. So I think on this team you have to annihilate Dooku first, just because there's too much nuisance otherwise. So I get rid of Django, but still the danger is not out yet, because these guys, they're still doing a ton of damage. So finally Annihilate comes along and I managed to take care of him. But you can see by extortion, Newt is has almost taken out my Nihilus. He's got him in red health. So even by himself, this guy Newt does plenty of damage and can get dangerous. And this is what got me thinking that actually this team can be pretty effective on offense. Um, Especially with Watt in there, you can actually end up doing a pretty decent job. So I managed to get 55 banners over there, even though I was undersized. I did end up losing one character, but here you have uh, a decently relict First Order and Geo squad. But I decide to first handle the next toughest team, which is going to be the Grievous squad. So this is an R7 Grievous team with quite few good relics on the other characters as well. 144k health, so pretty tanky, and it's going to be hitting pretty hard. So I decided to take in my Padme team against that. I think Padme, along with Jedi Revan, is somewhat of a hard counter to Grievous. So I decide not to put the protection up first, because I want to save it for after B2 has had a chance to go. All right, so in this battle, I'm wondering what to do. I think I'm going to call one of these characters. I'm going to hide Jedi Knight Anakin, because I don't want him getting um, targeted by anyone. And at this stage, I think I dispel everyone, because I don't want the damage immunity on Droidica. The shield is basically what's going to get him to assist. That's why I got rid of him first. And now I'm just trying to I'm trying not to do any damage, but I'm not able to prevent that. And because of that, Magnagard is about to die. He's got the taunt, so I can't do anything else. But he dies now, and Grievous takes a turn. And unfortunately, Droidica is pretty low health as well. So unlike a JKR squad where you can target and take out B1, B2 first, you're not able to do that in this squad. And here I'm trying to keep Shakti alive, but I'm not able to over here. Grievous just takes her out. So I have no choice but to go through the rest of the droids before reaching Grievous. So here I apply a confuse, and I'm trying to stack up enough stacks of courage to take Grievous out in one shot, because that's the best way to handle Grievous with Padme, is build up at least 10 stacks of courage and then take him out. I don't have much courage on the characters, but I anyway decide to go ahead with it. And in this case, what I did was since two droids were below were about to die, I did the AoE to take both of them out at once, so that I just have one big hit from Grievous. So the team is tanky enough to survive, so not much of an issue over here. Only got 52 banners, lost a lot of protection, and lost Shakti as well, but able to get through it in one shot, which is the important thing. And then against the Geos, I decided to take in a reasonably tough squad. I thought I could probably do it undersized, so I just go in undersized with these guys. I don't have Basti and I don't have Sith Trooper, but I do have the others, and I have Malik as well, so I figured it won't be an issue. I start with Shock so that Malik gets the taunt, but it actually turns out to be pretty dicey, because these guys don't have a Dispel. And you can see over here, I'm able to apply shock, but then the Geos recover pretty quickly to full health and full protection, and are able to take out both my HK as well as my Sith Marauder. So I'm in a bit of a pickle right now, and I'm thinking, maybe I should have gotten Basti as well. Of course, she's on defense, so I couldn't get her, but maybe I should have gone in with a tank in addition to these guys. But I'm not that worried. As long as Malik is around, these guys should do a decent enough job. And especially over here, now that Death Mark is applied, after that things become much simpler. So maybe I could have just gone in with these two and done it, but ended up losing 6 banners because I lost HK as well as Sith Marauder. And my Sith Empire team is not relicked up at all. A couple of them, Darth Revan and Malik, are G13, but I haven't placed any relics on them at all. And the other characters are all G12, so didn't expect much from this team. But 53 banners, one shot the Geo team. Let's move to the next one. So against the next team, which I decided to take in the Bounty Hunters, I decided to take in the First Order team. And First Order is really a hard counter to Bounty Hunters, especially if your team outspeeds the Bosk in the team. And they've got plenty of AoEs, the Bounty Hunter team, which allows Crew, Kylo, and First Order Stormtrooper to do a lot of counters, and that can help soften the team up as well. So here I'm just controlling the team with stuns, applying healing immunity when I can. I'm trying to also do the feat, I think. I'm trying to get at least a few kills off from the Kylos, so that I'm able to progress towards that feat. Yeah, here I'm stunning Bosk whenever I get the chance. And I should have probably taken out, yeah, so that's one of the kills with the Kylos. So yeah, that's basically what you need to do. You need to control with stuns, turn meter removal, turn meter gain. That's about it. And with the 2-turn stun, and with given how slow the Bounty Hunter team usually is, they don't have any mechanic for gaining turn meter. you can basically keep the whole team under timeout for a really long time. So it works out pretty well. So that's another kill from Kylo. And I've lost a little bit of health and protection on first order officer, but that's fine. I mean, anyway, it's not a banner victory because my opponent. I think I should be able to win this pretty easily without much sweat. So I'm trying to recover as much banners on the others as possible. Probably not going to be able to recover everything on first order officer. But so there goes another kill with Kylo. Now it's only Bosk left, so it's pretty easy to control him. All right. So just waiting for Bosk to get below 100% health, because after that he loses the defense bonus that he gets and becomes pretty easy to take out after that. All right, so ended with about 59 banners, I think, because I think I just lost some amount of protection on first order officer. Yeah, 59 banners. All right, moving on to the next match. I think I just decide to go with deciding whether to hit the crew team or the kart team. And I decided to take my Wampa against the kart team. I have Basti as well. And Basti, Wampa, Hermit Yoda make a really nice trio. Usually end with the good banners as well. So decide to give my Wampa some action. Give him a lot of buffs. Spread some days around. And then start attacking these guys one by one. So not much of an issue for Wampa. He's able to hit for quite a lot and do a decent job against this kart team. 62 banners, full health and protection on everyone. And then finally we have the last team, which is going to be the crew team. I check out the ships over there and then go to the crew team. And here I decide to go in, it is relic. They've got 4 relics on both Fox and both the Kylo, so it is a tough team. But I think that I debate whether to take my Jedi Knight Revan or Rebels, because I've got both those teams available. Checking the stats over here, 90k protection, 62k health. So I decided to go in with my my Commander Luke Skywalker because it's not modded for health, so I think I should be able to do a decent job over here. I stun crew because I don't want crew to land a 2-turn stun on my Chewie, and then I start working on these guys one by one. Start taking the other guys out. So first guy out, stun landed over here. Now good thing was the Kylo Ren tried to stun either my CLS or my Han, and that's why the stun did not apply since they've got guard. Now I'm just trying to take out one big shot for crew. So that's the advantage of crew being modded for protection and not health. I was able to take him out pretty easily. So here I stunned Kylo Ren, and I'm trying to take him out, take my time to take him out. I didn't land any stun over here, but by this point of time, Kylo Ren had developed so much of offense that he was able to one-shot my Chewie. So that was pretty unfortunate. He was an R4 Kylo Ren, and because of all the hits that he got, his offense just built up through the roof, and he just one-shot my Chewie. So that was a bit unfortunate, but still managed to get 57 banners. And again, my opponent had General Skywalker's ship on available to them, but they still decided to set Rebels for some reason, which works out okay for me. My Rebel ships are pretty decent. My Biston and Scarif Rebel Pathfinder are G12, so I'm able to take them in to do a decent job against this team. And I've kept Plo in as a reinforcement because I'm planning to one-shot this team and planning to have Plo called in towards the end to recover some banners and protection. So in terms of protection and health recovery, I think the Rebels have got to be one of the superior offensive teams out there. They do a really good job recovering protection, especially because all the ships, not just the tank, but all the ships do a really decent job recovering health and protection. So here you can see I called my plow in, and I've already recovered full health and protection on all the characters, and I ended up with 66 banners, which is the maximum banners that you can get in ships. So there you go, 1911 banners. That's the end of my offensive stage. Let's wait to see how my opponent does. So my opponent did go a few hours after me, and let's take a quick look. They weren't able to clear my board. Ended up at 1099 points. A couple of battles against the Bounty Hunter team, and the EP team threw them for a loop. EP with Bastilla. They were able to clear my General Skywalker, which I was quite impressed with, and that too in 2 turns. One shot my Grievous Watt, and only 2 turns for General Skywalker. But by the time I think they'd exhausted all their good teams, I didn't have anything really good for the back, and struggled against the JTR team, and really didn't attack the new team. So yeah, my ships were untouched, and overall it was a pretty good victory, especially since I prevented my opponent from clearing me. On to the next match. Okay, so now we come to the main course, which is the third and final match of the week. And as expected, T Mike made it into the finals. He's the other guy in my group with an R7 General Skywalker. And even though there's a 500,000 difference in GP, the rest of the stats seem pretty consistent. We're almost the same in G12, G13s. I do have more Zetas, but mods are almost the same, I would say. And our offensive and defensive records are also pretty similar. I tend to set, I think, a slightly more heavier defense than him, but overall the stats are pretty consistent. And my opponent, T Mike, has been ranked previously 196 in Kyber, which is a few ranks more than me, which means that he was essentially undefeated or in one of the previous seasons. And I'm sure pretty much that he's been undefeated in this season as well. So I think we're looking at least 15 to 20 matches undefeated for Team Mike. So a lot of pressure going in. It's definitely he's got a good roster, good mods. So let's go and see how we do. So this is going to be the first time that I'm going to be facing a maxed out General Skywalker team. And not just in Grand Arena, but I don't have one in my Arena shard as well. So it's actually going to be the very first time that I'm faced up against a General Skywalker maxed out team. And it's going to be interesting to see how whether I'm able to take it down or not. Because I've seen people struggle against my General Skywalker. 7-8 battles without making a dent against a solo Skywalker. So I'll have to think about things to do to take it out. And that's generally the case with people like me and my current opponent T Mike, who have maxed out General Skywalkers. Our battles tend to get easier, and we tend to use General Skywalker as a crutch to win our matches. So this is probably going to be a very even match, where we will get to test the real strength of our defenses for the very first time. And in a few months, this kind of a scenario will be very common, where we'll be fighting other opponents with max Skywalkers as well. So there's a taste of things to come in the future. Now, a Skywalker team is by no means undefeatable. I mean, with high relic Galactic Republic and with CLS teams, you should be able to eke out the win. But in this case, neither me nor my opponent really had good relics on our Galactic Republic and CLS team. So I was anticipating a struggle. Either we were not going to clear it, or we're going to clear it after multiple attempts. So let's go ahead and take a look at the battlefield, and we'll review my defenses first. So I kept my Darth Revan up top, which is not relic, so it's not as intimidating, but it still take a tough team to take out. And I kept my EP Basti team, which is always tough, and a fast nest with bounty hunters. And then down below, I've kept my General Skywalker here with Grievous with BB-8. Given a choice, it's always better to keep your toughest team at the bottom, so that your opponent has to clear those and to see the teams at the back. they have to pay that tax of going through their meta teams. And at the back, I've kept very simple Karth and Kira teams, and a very simple ship squad over here because my opponent has a 6-star negotiator and I don't. So I wanted to make sure that I have enough offense and ships to clear him, because my main goal is to clear my opponent. And as you can see over here, my opponent did the mistake of keeping his General Skywalker up top, along with a couple of other tough teams, the Grievous and Grievous with Watt as well. And down below, he had two relatively easier teams to take out. So the tax of seeing what's at the back to seeing exposing all the character sections, it's not really as much. So I decided to go ahead and attack the sections down below to expose what's at the back. And initially I thought about taking Treya against the Geos because they're not really well geared or modded Geos. I think only the Brood Alpha is relict and the rest of them are G12. But then I was sure that my opponent had, maybe to trick me, kept Padme at the back, and I wanted to save my Treya at least for that, because Padme, the only thing I had to take that out was Treya, and I didn't want to get stuck. So I decided to overkill it and decided to go with my sisters over here, and it's a pretty straightforward battle with the sisters against the Geos. So all you need to do is make sure that the Daka's health gets built up, either through assists or through revives. And here you can see they've already exhausted both the free revives of Zombie. I'm just doing as much as I can to spread the plague around. I don't bring Asajj back in because because everyone still has protection. So I like to use the call from the grave to at least build up a little bit of Daka's health. I think I managed to get Daka up to 110k health with relic level 3 so far. So every time that she's calling someone, she's just generating tons and tons of health, and she'll become literally unkillable. There is one risk to taking Daka against the Geos, is that if the other sisters die, Daka has got a very real chance of being, even though she'll take a while to get down, Daka has got a very real chance of being ability blocked because of all these basics from Poggle. So in case you get a chance, you have to take out Poggle first if you get a chance with sisters. Otherwise, Daka is just going to get ability block and not going to be able to revive anyone. So that's just a little tip in case you're taking sisters against Geos. So that was done, 56 banners. And then for the new team at bottom, he split up his sisters. So he's kept Asajj and Zombie over here along with the rest of the new team. And I thought I'll take in my bugs against them because Geos are really an extremely hard counter against new teams in general. And I decided to take in the bugs undersized without Sunfac because I wanted to save Sunfac for something else towards the end. I probably should have taken in someone else as well because Newt is always a tough and tricky team. You should never underestimate it. Especially this one was a slightly different version of the Newt team, which had a Zombie also in it, which means there's additional people that you have to kill. These guys in general do a decent job, but there's tons of characters who can stun on this team. Obviously, there was Dooku who's now been killed, but there's Asajj as well, who's got tons of stun, and you've got Django, who's got the ability to go around taunt as well. So you've got a few dangerous characters in this team as well. But I'm trying to exhaust the zombie deaths because I really can't go after Django right now since he's got damage immunity. So I'm trying to get Asajj out a couple of times. And the problem with all these deaths is Asajj's damage keeps getting ramped up. And if I decide to pay in with extortion, the Prophet is going to basically make the damage really amped up quite a lot on Asajj. So that's basically what I'm trying to do. And now that the damage immunity has gone from Django, I'm trying to take him out. And you can see that the taunt is gone over here. That's the problem with the with the Prophet, with the extortion, is that the moment my Brute's turn comes around, he will lose his taunt. So I managed to get rid of almost all the characters, but you can see over here, extortion is taking its toll on the characters, and I don't really have. I'm not able to really take down Asajj in time, and Newt is just taking care of my team. So I just decided to get rid of him before and clean up with a much lesser team. So this was a bit of a disappointment. The team, like all new teams, performs much better than you expect, and that underestimating that you do of the new team, that's what gets people holes. So I just took in my troopers to go and finish off the rest of the sisters, Sarge and Zombie. My troopers are G11, and anyway, I wasn't planning to use them for anything else up top, so I felt this was a fine enough use for them. So I'm here just trying to get some deaths, get some turn meter, and ideally I should have used the death mark out there to finish off a Sarge and prevent another revive, and that's what I do the second time, but reasonable enough 40 banners. So let's see what we have at the back. I was hoping for no meta teams there, and two reasonably easy teams, so I can go ahead and clear them without using any really good teams and save all my good teams for the Skywalker and General Grievous team at the top. So let's go ahead and tackle one of these teams first. So there's a Bounty Hunter team with Baze and a fast Bosk, and there's the Bosk is about 305. So even without Django lead, the Bosk is going to go pretty fast. So I decided to take out the Kira team first. So there's Kira, L3 Vandor, and both Mission and Zalbar. And for that I go with a JTR-led droid team with Wampa in there as well. I'm just throwing together some random teams to be able to take out the teams below without really wasting any meta teams. So Wampa actually has some really good synergy with Resistance. Obviously here you don't have many Resistance characters, but before when Wampa had initially come out, because of the fact that Resistance apply tons of exposes, and Wampa has this ability to stun on basic if the target has expose, I actually ran the Wampa or tried to run the Wampa with a few Resistance teams in the past. It didn't really work out that well. It never really took off. But that's just a neat synergy which can be worked on if you want to. So nothing much in this team. I'm just trying to. I'm not really bothered about banners. I'm just trying to get through healing these guys and taking them out as soon as possible. So with L3, the thing is you have to avoid AoEs, otherwise she dispels debuffs. And then once everyone is down, then you can go and target L3 and take her down. So not much of an issue for this team. 57 banners there. Let's go ahead and take out the last team. So here I see that I'm just trying to check what teams I need to take out the stuff at top, and then let's go ahead and clear the Bounty Hunter team over here. And what I do is I decide to go in with my first order team against the Bounty Hunters. And my first order is actually slower than the Bosk, but it's really not that big of a deal. As long as Django's not in the lead, that actually causes problems because the burning prevents the first order team from gaining turn meter. As long as that's not the case, these guys do have enough damage to burn through the first order, the Bounty Hunter team, even with Bosk taunt up. So all you need to do is keep focusing on Bosk. If he manages to get the taunt up, you need to keep focusing on Bosk and try to get him down as soon as possible. And then once he's down, then you can target the others. And these guys have got plenty of protection and health recovery, the first order, so it's really not that much of a concern. The only concern is if you've got squishy characters like first order officer, for example, who is just taken out with an execute from Boba. Those guys can sometimes suffer against a bounty hunter team, but otherwise the other characters are all that you see over here, the 4 characters, they're all pretty beefy and pretty survivable, and they've got tons of recovery, so it's really not much of an issue with bounty hunters. All you need to do is keep doing the AoEs, keep getting turn meter, keep critting with the first order executioner, so that that also gives additional turn meter to everyone, and keep using first order executioner special against characters who are not going to die, because what that does is that really stacks up his damage, and he'll start hitting really hard going forward. So now you see Bosk is below 100% health, so that means he becomes more squishy and easier to take out. So I'm just working on him, and once you've taken him out, then you can work on the other characters and take them out, depending on priority. Base is not much of a threat over here. He doesn't do really anything much apart from providing a pre-taunt. But as we saw over here, there were 2 taunts over here when we started off, both Base as well as Bosk, and that really didn't stop the first order team. So here I take out Boba for the first time, and then I take him out for the second time. But they've got their payout, but that shouldn't be much of an issue. Alright, so I just keep using basic of crew whenever there's a character with a debuff, just so that I keep the taunt on him. But between first order stormtrooper and crew, they managed to get the taunt on them long enough for the others to do their damage. So managed to get a kill with Kylo, and I think I still needed a couple of kills for my first order feat. So I'm just trying to get those done with Kylo and crew. So that's why I avoid Fox's hit against Baze, and I try to take out Baze with one of the Kylos. So ended up with full health and protection on all these 4. Obviously lost first order officer, which was unfortunate, but this team was never really in any danger. Alright, so the bottom section is clear, and now we have got the rest of our meta teams available to take out what is there at the top. So my first goal is to clear the board first and foremost. That's the best way that you can guarantee a victory. And before attacking the Grievous or the Thousand team, I wanted to just take a shot against the General Skywalker team. And I want to go in with my Padme team, which is unfortunately not that relicked up. There's only Kenobi and Anakin who are at R3 and R7, but everyone else is at G12. So not really a premium team to take these guys out. And you can see over here, they go first and do tremendous amounts of damage, and my Shakti is taken out even before we get to move. So that was unfortunate for me, but I'm just trying to survive over here till we can get some turns. Take out protection on most of the other characters, and very close to getting Skywalker down. So once I get him down, what I try to do is I try to take out a weak clone first, so that Fives get sacrificed, and then I can take out the other clones immediately afterwards. So that's because you get very limited amount of moves, only 10 moves when Skywalker is down, so you need to get rid of the clones fast. And if I try to go through 5s, it takes tons of time. So that's why I prefer to get a weak clone down first, and then and then get rid of 5s that way. So here you can see I lost Padme initially, and then as soon as Skywalker comes out, the other characters are immediately taken out. So it's not much of an issue for a lone Skywalker. I do have a serious cleanup in front of me, and this is the squad that I've been thinking about for a while to clean up Skywalker. Obviously, the first preference would be to one-shot Skywalker if you can, and if you have a really high relic Galactic Republic team or a Rebel team, which is actually proven to be more successful, R5 to R7 on everyone, that will be the best option. But in case you're not able to, then you need to find a way to effectively clean up without using your meta teams. And this is something that I've been meaning to try for a while. Obviously, I haven't been able to try it since I haven't faced an R7 Skywalker, so this is going to be my first opportunity to test this team out. But this is the thought behind this. Dooku has amazing anti-Skywalker synergies. His basic can't be countered, so that prevents Skywalker from countering. And his attacks have got a 100% chance of inflicting, of attacking again for a Galactic Republic, and a 50% chance to inflict stun and ability block. So if you stun Skywalker, that's obviously one of the best outcomes. He won't be able to go. If you ability block him, he won't be able to use his specials. Force lightning is another thing which really has a great chance to stun Galactic Republic, 100% chance to stun another target if the target is Galactic Republic. So that's great as well. And Dooku's potency is naturally extremely high. I have him, even though I haven't modded him for potency, I have him at about 100%. So that's really great. In addition, Newt's lead gives tons of extortion, and extortion is another ability which does percentage health damage, especially with all these separatists applying debuffs with Newt Zeta. So that's going to be pretty helpful as well. Plus, with extortion, what's going to happen is you always have to find ways of getting Skywalker to not take turns. So whether it's stun, ability block, fracture, which is why I got Thrawn in over here, or blind, which is why I got Sunfac over here. And extortion is another great way to do that, because once you have extortion on Skywalker, he'll waste his turn by using up extortion and not using one of his abilities. So basically what you're trying to do is just trying to prevent Skywalker from taking turns, because once he takes turns and inflicts damage, your team is gone. So you need to be able to control him effectively, and this team is designed to do that. Obviously, Watt is in there for a couple of reasons. He's going to give the taunting tech to Sunfac to get him to take the brunt of the damage, and he's going to be able to give the med pack to Count Dooku, so that Dooku, because he's a separatist, Dooku is going to get 5% health protection and 5% bonus protection every time that an enemy goes. So it's just going to make him a little more survivable, because Dooku is the main bone of the backbone of the counter over here against Skywalker. Thrawn is great to have. He's one of the best control characters, and he can be used pretty effectively in this team to control Skywalker. So let's take a look at this particular team and see if it's able to effectively clean up the Skywalker team. Okay, let's head in. So the very first thing I do is I put the med pack on Dooku. I debated whether putting the taunting tech first on Sunfac, but I wanted Dooku to survive, and precisely for this reason. So once Ahsoka hit him, he started countering and stunned Skywalker, which is exactly the outcome we needed, prevent him from going. And then I give the taunting tech to Sunfac, spread some extortion around, and then directly go and fracture Skywalker, because once he gets out of stun, then you don't want him to go. And then I finally the last weapon mod I give to you can give to anyone, either Thrawn or Newt. This time I decided to give it to Newt because I want him to go fast and apply as much extortion as possible. So I keep controlling him and reducing his protection so that he goes into cover, hiding him when I can. Thrawn unfortunately is out in the open, but that's fine, he can counter as well. So then once he's down under cover, I work as quickly as I can to take out Ahsoka. So I pass the turn meter on to Dooku, stun her, and keep working on them. So the name of the game is don't allow them to take any turns, because both these guys can hit pretty hard. So unfortunately, once he comes out of cover, there's no other choice. He will end up going because he dispels fracture and all other status effects. This time I wasn't able to prevent the second turn, and he was able to take out Watt. But fracture comes around, and I'm able to control him pretty effectively now. And again, the extortion, stuns, ability block, shock, fracture, all of these status effects are on Skywalker, and effectively he won't be able to take any other turn after this. And all my characters are at full health and full protection, at least the 3 remaining behind, and the battle is firmly in control. So he's come out of fracture, but he still has stun and ability block on him, and very soon fracture cycles back again, and that's it, 34 banners. So he's it's a relatively clean second attempt cleanup of Skywalker without having to use any of my meta teams. I saved my Darth Revan, CLS, and the rest of my meta teams against it. So that was a good outcome. So now I decided to take the next toughest team out, which is going to be the Grievous team. And here it's the setup is a little interesting. It's a Grievous team with Watt in there, but Magna Guard is only G12 and B2 is G13, which is why B2, since he's more tanky, he gets the taunting tech from Watt, which I think makes this counter extremely easy because I no longer have to go after B2. I can just go after Watt, take him out, prevent any other techs from going out, and then since B2 has got the taunting tech, I directly go after him and take him out. I don't have to. I no longer have to go through Magna Guard. So this makes this counter a little bit easier. So there you go. B2 is out. Savior has been popped, and now I just need to survive until Mark comes around again. So one big difference for me for this season compared to last season or last week rather is that I managed to put relics on both my Jolie and Grandmaster Yoda, and that's making a big difference in terms of survivability and damage. My Jolie is has not even has because of all the extra bonus protection that he's getting from his health. He's not even lost a bonus protection or health, and my Grandmaster Yoda is hitting extremely hard. You could see that he was able to take out the B2 in just a couple of hits. So now I'm just waiting to for Mark to come around, target Grievous, take him out. This is only an R2 and R3 Grievous, I think, so not much of a problem. But yeah, with the hard hitting Yoda, the team is taken out pretty easily. Now it's just a matter of cleaning up B1 Battle Droid. So relatively easier cleanup. It would have been trickier if Magna Guard had got the taunt. I would have probably I would have probably had to go after B1 with the second mark, and that would have caused Grievous to get some more health, quite a lot. So this was a much better outcome. I think I got lucky there. Now against this team, it's got Talzin with the Spirit and Daka with Nest and Barrison there. Which is a weird team. I haven't really seen it before, but it makes sense if you're trying to split out your sisters into two different teams. I guess Tal's indeed makes sense. I could have basically taken just my Sith trio in here, but since I had my CLS squad as well available, I just decided to overkill it and just put in Han Solo and Chewbacca in there as well. I was initially planning to use CLS Han and Chewie against General Skywalker as a cleanup, but I ended up not needing it due to Newt, so just decided to go after these guys. Now here, this was a mistake. I went after Barris. I don't know why. I think I should have gone after one of the sisters, maybe Spirit or Talzin. I think I forgot the fact that there's no zombie over here, so the sisters are not going to be revived, and a death means a death over here. Obviously, they can be revived by Daka, and also they can be called from the grave, but I think still going after one of the sisters might have been a better option. So I isolated Nest so that that prevents any counters over here, and then I keep working on these guys. Han and Chewie will not be able to dispel the stuns, but at least the sisters will be able to. The Sith team will be able to dispel the stuns due to Traya lead. So now I just got rid of Daka, and I'm trying to get rid of the last sister because she can still call assists on basic, and call Daka or Spirit to essentially attack. So now I'm just waiting for a big hit to come before taking Nest down and or Annihilate. Either one works. So the character section is taken out. Just a couple of battles against the Newt team and then the General Skywalker team, but everything else was one shot. So I was pretty happy about this outcome. And over here we see my opponent has set his Rebel team on defense and not the General Kenobi team, which I was pretty surprised about because as I mentioned before, I don't have General Kenobi, and if you keep General Kenobi on defense, my Rebels will have a tough time taking it out, especially a 6-star General Kenobi like my current opponent had. But a mirror match is perfectly fine. I checked the Biston speed. He was slower than my Biston, so I've been facing these kind of mirror matches in the arena for the last few months, so it's a pretty straightforward team to use against my opponent. It is tricky because I do get less banners, but it's manageable. And at the same time, I do manage to go in undersized and complete one of the undersized feats as well. So here, the very first thing you need to do is call in your Cassian to take out the enemy MILF. And once the enemy Falcon is out, then it should be a pretty straightforward cleanup. So, and my main goal was just clearing the board, preferably one-shots. A couple of them were unavoidable, but at least in the ships, I wanted a one-shot as well, because that's traditionally been my weak point in my roster. But as long as you have the right ships on offense, and here, I managed to save my Houndstooth on offense, that gives enough time for me to get the rest of the ships down. So that was it for the ship battle. Just busy cleaning up the last few stragglers of the rebel ships, and then the battle is done. So Lando's Falcon comes in towards the end, but it's a relatively easier cleanup after that. Okay, so 54 banners, not the best. I've been getting 65, 66 in the last couple of matches, but Rebel team was always tougher to take out. And over here, my total banners is now 1867. So my total banners is now 1867. Not ideal. I would have ideally liked about 1900 or so, but 2 matches over there against the new team. Everything else was one shot at the back, with about 55 banners or so, 55 to 60 banners, and then 2 battles against the General Skywalker. So overall, I would have liked 1900, but 1867 is fine. I'll take it. I'm just hoping that my opponent struggles against my General Skywalker team and the rest of my defense, because I have set a reasonably tough defense. I have kept my Darth Revan, which if you're using Padme or CLS or the own Darth Revan to take out the General Skywalker, that Darth Revan might give problems as well. Plus Grievous is always problematic too. So I'm just going to wait for a few hours to see what my opponent does. So after a few hours, my opponent has attacked, and this is the final result, 1867 to 1828. So my opponent did struggle a little bit on my General Skywalker. 4 battles against it, but he was able to clear it, which I was quite impressed with. And 2 battles against my Grievous team. So pretty good over there. At the back, I was not surprised. My opponent one-shot both these teams. JTR crew, there are plenty of teams which can do that pretty comfortably. But my goal was to make him struggle in the front zone, and even though he did one-shot my DR and Django, did struggle with 5 battles against my EP Basti team, which was also a good thing to see. So multiple battles against 3 teams, obviously one-shot my ships, but overall pretty good results. Managed to win this by about 40 banners. So pretty satisfying end to the second week. I think that this was something worthy of a finals. Kudos to my opponent, really well played. This is the first time in this season that somebody is clearing my defenses. So hats off, T Mike, really well played, and I really enjoyed playing against your defense too. So that's it. At the end of 2 weeks, we're currently 6-0 for exactly halfway into the season. Next 2 weeks is going to be pretty tough, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So I will catch you guys in a week for the next week's consolidation matches. All the best to you guys for your Grand Arena matches as well, and I will catch you later.